So we got a little cut off here. Some patients stepped in wanting some help, and we were talking about frequencies. And when you ask me what makes this special, it's about frequency. Anytime you have something that emits a frequency which is compatible with life on Earth, DNA vibratory frequencies, the human resonance, that's going to be beneficial to the human body. And we are essentially matter that vibrates at different frequencies. Now, if you look at the body, this is dense matter. And within the dense matter, we have different areas of different frequencies based on the chakras, like the reproductive organs, as I mentioned before, vibrating, resonating like 33 hertz in the heart. This is a very strong frequency area, about 66, give or take. Then you have very high frequency, or it could be lowered depending on meditation states, alpha, the beta, the different states, delta, theta. So frequencies are everything. The external, the body's energy field, we call the etheric, and then the next one, the astral, then the mental, then the causal, are all part of the continuum of our existence. So the template will actually dictate what's going on inside. If the template is hit with negative frequencies, different people with negativity around, it'll affect the inner organs. If it's subjected to beautiful, beneficial, healing frequencies, the inner organs are going to benefit. So the frequencies that are emitted by a sauna have a lot to do with it. And this is something that the health profession still has yet to acknowledge. The rishis have this, the Upanishads, all the ancient sages have figured all this out, but the Western medical model so far hasn't really come to terms with this. So to answer that question, the harmonious frequencies, and in this one, I know because I researched this a lot, and we had many discussions about this, the frequencies are compatible with that of a Chi Gong master. And being that I teach Chi Gong, Tai Chi, martial arts. These are.
Weren't you the medical director for one of the Olympic karate?
Yeah. I was the international karate team. I travel with them. I am the health wellness director for Nobel's Foundation, the Peace Prize Foundation. I work with a lot of organizations, Man of the Year, American Cancer Society, whatever. It's all means nothing unless it's in the heart and you're really using this to heal people.
So you work with a lot of athletes. And
yes.
Of course, you have a clinic in New York.
Yes.
Of spiritual healing.
Yes. No. You use a lot of spirituality.
A lot of people come to you and you use ozone and
we teach this all over the world. We conduct this under a research protocol. We've taught many doctors. We've utilized many healing modalities, and it's a transformational journey essentially. When you could, like, give me a chance to create heat, and I will cure, fever, and I will cure disease was the ancient, the proverb, and a lot of the ancient physicians used heat, and it's a cornerstone. It really is a cornerstone because it's like, look, I look at it this way: you've got an attic. The attic has got a lot of junk, and you got some beautiful stuff you want to put into the attic. Why would you want to put it into an attic that's full of dust and junk? You want to clean the attic first, and then add new things. So you get rid of the garbage, the toxins, everything that's in there. Then you add new things: nutrition, wellness, spiritual evolution, all sorts of other protocols. So this is a cornerstone of health. And sweat therapy, along with colonics and other forms of meditation and movement, is a cornerstone of health. You really have to detox before you start building the body. And the fact remains is that most people are simply toxic in our toxic planet. And we're just getting more and more toxic by the day.
I think there's a book by Tilden called Toxicity is the Cause of All Disease.
Yes.
The root cause.
The toxicity, it's not only physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's mental, but we could start with the physical component, and if someone's sick or if they're getting sick, this is one way to start restoring balance.
Now, the Relax Sauna, which I've been promoting for 20 years, and a lot of people, again, say to me, why is this sauna more therapeutic than a $900 portable sauna, or a $500 portable sauna, or a $5,000 wooden infrared sauna? And then how again is the finished sauna, which is a wonderful piece of machinery that works with heat. How is this different from the energy medicine used in the far-infrared saunas?
Yeah, well, again, it comes down to frequency. I love the wooden saunas. I mean, I have two in my house. They're wonderful. They're great. They're $3,000-$4,000, $2,000. I mean, if you have a lot of space and you want to utilize those two, wonderful, great. You know, each sauna has its own, I would say, special components, I guess, or everybody has designed. Every maker has designed the coil, heating coil, a little different. But this is portable, which makes it desirable. We carry it with us. When we don't sweat for 2, 3, 4 days, we start going crazy. There are people who spend their whole lives never having sweated, and imagine the toxicity they're carrying.
We had a man yesterday who sweated for the first time in about 10 years.
He gets.
Yeah.
And that must have smelled awful, man.
He felt good.
He felt good.
He got
rid of a lot of garbage, and then you become addicted, because now as you're doing this, the interface between the choroid plexus, which is like the vascular area in the brain, and the ventricles becomes enhanced because you're getting more blood supply to that area. More cerebrospinal fluid is being produced.
Yep.
As you're producing more cerebrospinal fluid, there are about 100 neurotransmitters, probably thousands right now. They've discovered about 100 of them.
Even with your head out.
Yeah, for
right.
sure. You're producing endorphins, dynorphins, enkephalins, all those endogenous opioids, those substances that make you feel good. You actually feel good. It's the best high in the world.
I was saying, how come people experience the relaxed sauna and say, I feel joy in this sauna, I almost feel euphoric, and they don't experience that in other great infrared saunas? What makes the relaxed sauna give that special feeling? Can you explain it like almost to a doctor?
I think probably because of the nanotechnology structure of the coils and the way it emits the healing frequencies. Because when you sit in here, you really do feel good. Frequencies have a lot to do with it, and it heats you up pretty fast. You get a pretty even heating component in this, and the rush of the neurotransmitters and the endogenous opioids is pretty quick, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, like within 10, 15 minutes, you're really feeling good, and then after that initial phase of detox, you do get a euphoria, and motion changes emotion. So when you create that motion in the body, your emotions start changing. You can actually think clearer. Your decision-making process is so much better. And I notice when I can't do sauna, I mean, I'll do the poor man's way, so I'll fill up a bathtub, I'll take a shower. You're still getting a lot of garbage from the water and pollutants and everything, but you need a sweat. Run, jog, do Tai Chi, Chi Gong, yoga, stretch. It's very important, and it really is such a cornerstone of feeling good. I mean, when that blood supply goes to the ventricles, you're producing so many more neurotransmitters, and a lot of them, like, you can become literally a neurotransmitter junkie. It really does feel good.
Yeah, right, I know.
It's like, you get a nice rush, and it's not a harmful rush.
No, it's a good rush. And I know there's a doctor, Bill Akpinar, out of Colorado, and he says when people use the relaxed sauna with patients, and they finally start sweating after 3-4 weeks because they've never been sweaters, he says there's a remarkable change in their healing journey.
Oh my God.
So you're saying that people who don't sweat regularly are sort of being a little silly?
It's like, it's generally, Phil, it's more, I think it comes more from a lack of knowledge and education in this, because it's not really an integral part of the Western healthcare system, you know?
Yeah.
In many countries, it's utilized all over the place, and here it's like, you know, even in like cancer hospitals, wellness hospitals,
You have
it's not
diet,
promoted.
you have diet, you have exercise, and sweating.
Yeah, yeah, you have it.
I mean, yeah, like,
In these cancer centers all over the world, this is a cornerstone,
yeah.
and yet here it isn't. And it's hard to understand that because so many of these toxins are kept in the body, and when the toxic threshold hits a certain level, what happens is the body can no longer contain it. You start getting DNA damage, and the DNA destabilizes, the loops become undone, and ultimately you get disease. And a lot of this manifests 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years before the actual disease is seen.
It takes a while.
Yeah, and when it hits, like a person with cancer, it's very difficult to get them to sweat. It shuts the body down.
Yeah.
The sweat glands actually become shut down.
So in other words, if everyone sweated regularly, a couple times a week at least, then the rate of cancer in America would decrease dramatically.
I see a very strong correlation between hyperthermia and
Which is a little bit different than sweating.
right, exactly. Induced hyperthermia and the prevention of a lot of killer diseases, including cancer, because a lot of cancers are viral. And when you hit 105, 106 degrees, you're killing viruses.
Yeah.
All right, you're directly, this is a Duke University study now so many studies have come out since then. Direct killing of cancer cells begins at 106, 107 degrees. So this is already documented,
So if we
it's
can,
known.
if we can get the body to go up to 101, 102 degrees 2-3 times a week, that is certainly a step in the right direction. Because,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, let's not forget the neurological benefits of sweat therapy. The brain, you know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
No, you get neurogenesis.
Yeah.
When you're pushing blood flow to the brain, you're actually opening up the brain's own blood flow, which helps produce new neurons. So gray matter is actually shown to increase, especially in the frontal lobes.
Okay, so there's a lot of research, like 60 years worth of research on PubMed.com. But I want to know from you, what do you know that the saunas do from experience that they don't tell you in the research? That's and for example, a friend of mine told me that they're going to find out in 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the future that this is one of the best things in the world for the lungs. And having had asthma as a kid and having had an asthma attack about 8 years ago, and the sauna got rid of it in about 3 minutes, there's certain things I know through experience that the sauna is going to do for a lot of people. So, you know, in terms of the mental acuity, the attunement, the getting into the present moment, you know, when you do Chi Gong, when you do any kind of, you want to be in that special kind of place where you're more tuned into your inner guidance, your inner presence. And so what do you know that can convince people, or not convince, but inspire people to say, damn, I gotta get a relaxed sauna and see if, because there's certain benefits I want that I'm just not getting. I want something super special.
Yeah, it's
And the research talks about, well, it'll lower blood pressure, it'll increase microcirculation, and that doesn't inspire me a whole lot. You know,
lose 600 calories each time you sweat.
Yeah.
You know, and carrying extra poundage is certainly a risk factor for disease. When I used to do anesthesia, that was a huge risk factor. Even if someone came in, and if they were otherwise in good health, and they had extra poundage, that would put them at higher risk. It would put them at higher risk for diabetes, heart disease, stroke, especially even COVID. And, and this is not over. I mean, this is certainly far from over. They're going to introduce other strains into our world. So let's be realistic about this.
Yeah.
But God has given us an amazing innate healing ability. our bodies are perfectly designed machines. We're attuned and created in His image, and it's been said in the Scripture that the Lord does not give us disease for which there is no cure on earth. And we're not talking about being teetered to a pharmaceutical agent for the rest of our lives, and when that fails, the doctor telling us, well, take another one, and then when that fails, people don't ask, when do I get off this medicine, doctor? Because the answer is, you don't get off it. When it stops working, we give you another medicine to take. And the same thing, when people say, how long do I have to do the sauna? Well, how often do you have to eat? How often do you have to sleep?
Yes.
Go to the bathroom?
Right.
So it's just one of those lifestyle things that is going to be, as you said, in 20, 30 years, my God, how come people weren't aware of this? In the Ottoman Empire, this is called the secret doctor. He's the doctor. In Chinese medicine, if you mention the lungs and the toxic lung, large intestine is considered the metal element. Both are essentially metaphorically and physiologically elimination organs. One is assimilation, elimination, and they are important components of keeping homeostasis. If the lungs are not functioning properly as an intestine, you have to have other channels to get rid of the waste in the body. So sweat glands is essentially, it's like the skin is considered the third kidney.
Yeah.
Okay? And people don't realize that. And so many people lose kidney function by the time they're 40, 50, 60. A lot of the kidneys, because of the antibiotics we took as children, the toxins, the heavy metals, the viral infections, kidney function, the tubules start becoming worn out, and each kidney has about 1 million functional units called nephrons. And when the kidney function goes down to about 15-20%, that's when the body lets you know, the kidney lets you know that we're in trouble. And you can function subclinically and 20-25% kidney function. So many people are. So what you're doing is you're driving on a spare tire. Now, why drive on a spare tire when you can use the skin to bypass all the junk that's going through the kidney and get rid of all the garbage right through the skin?
So you get no more tread wear.
Right, you're sparing that spare tire that we worn out from all these years of living by bypassing it and using the skin, the third kidney, to eliminate. And this is great for people who are undergoing dialysis. If people have kidney dysfunction, if people have other problems, they should all be using this.
Yeah. And why aren't they?
Because they just don't know. The knowledge and the education hasn't been given to them.
Yeah.
And that's what inspired. That's why I was inspired to write this. This is my one book of the 5 books.
You've got around 12 books.
I've got about 5. The last one is a monster. It's a 800-page book, the compendium of naturopathic spiritual medicine. I created a new field which merges spirituality and science, because all science, in my opinion, has been created to validate what's been given to us by the sages and the scriptures. So science is just a method of validating. We're researchers. So everything we do is research.
Exactly, yes. I'm writing a book myself about this sort of stuff. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, look, I hope people will heed this wisdom and make life a sweaty proposition, because I think it's important to sweat as much as you can, at least a few times a week. Every organ system benefits from sweat therapy, every organ system. And I'm proud and blessed to have you as my friend and brother, and benefiting from your technology here.
How long have you been using the Relax Sauna?
How long have we known each other?
About 12 years.
That's about it. Yeah, then we go back
Something
that far.
like that, around 2000. You published this book when?
2007. I didn't know you back then.
A couple of years
A
later.
lot of people have helped me with this. God bless them. And we came into each other's presence, and we travel with this. We take it around with us
You use the Relax Sauna when you're on the road.
all the time.
Yeah. And one of your quotes is that you don't know how people can live without it.
I just don't know. So I'm going to get back into the conference, do a little bit more teaching, a little sharing of wisdom. So it's been great. Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you.
We finally got a chance to get together and share some thoughts on this.
Right. We will have this continuing conversation.
Amen.
Well, it's a never-ending
Yes,
conversation,
yes.
actually, because there is no time and space anyway, and there's no beginning and no ending.
That's it. I say to everyone, make life a sweaty proposition. Let's use God's given innate wisdom and utilize it to heal our bodies.
Excellent.